They don't speak to be heard, they speak to observe. While everyone else fills the air with noise, the silent ones study, absorb, and calculate. You never know what they're thinking, and that's exactly what makes them dangerous. Their calm isn't emptiness, it's control. They've mastered the art of restraint in a world addicted to reaction. When everyone else reveals their cards through emotion, the silent person stays still, watching, waiting, understanding far more than they show. People often mistake their quietness for weakness, but that's where they're wrong. Silence is their strategy. It allows them to read every tone, every glance, every inconsistency that others overlook. While others are too busy proving themselves, the silent person is already 2 steps ahead, collecting data, analyzing behavior, and storing every piece of information for when it matters most. They rarely move first, but when they do, it's precise and decisive. You never see their strength coming because they don't advertise it. Their silence is power disguised as peace. And by the time people realize how much they truly understand, it's already too late. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to Brainy Quiet Mind, a space for thinkers, observers, and calm souls who see through the noise. And tell me in the comments, do you stay silent to listen or to protect your peace? They notice everything while saying almost nothing. Silent people live in observation mode. While others fill the room with conversation, they sit back, calm, still, and completely aware. Their eyes scan details most never notice: the quick glance between 2 people, the nervous hand twitch, the hesitation in someone's laugh. They pick up on tone shifts, micro-expressions, and the quiet tension others overlook. They don't interrupt or compete for attention. They let silence do the work. And in that silence, the truth reveals itself. What makes them powerful is how effortlessly they gather information. Every word said, every reaction, every inconsistency, it all registers. They build a map of the room in their mind, understanding not just what people say, but why they say it. While others talk to be heard, the silent one listens to understand. That patience gives them an invisible advantage. They always know more than they show. By the time everyone else figures out what's happening, the silent observer already saw it coming. This awareness doesn't come from paranoia, it comes from depth. Silent people think before they speak because they know words can't be taken back. They understand that power lies not in being loud, but in being aware. Every second they stay quiet, they're analyzing patterns, who dominates the room, who pretends to be confident, who hides behind charm. And when they finally speak, their words carry weight because silence has built their credibility. People lean in to listen, not because of volume, but because of presence. There's something unsettling about someone who watches more than they talk. You can't predict them, you can't manipulate them. Their silence forces others to reveal themselves out of nervousness, arrogance, or guilt. And that's what makes them dangerous. Because while the world underestimates them, they're quietly building insight, strategy, and control. They may not say much, but don't mistake their quiet for passivity. They're not detached, they're decoding. And by the time others realize it, the silent person already knows everyone's intentions, strengths, and weaknesses. In a world addicted to noise, the one who listens, truly listens, always ends up holding the most power. Their silence makes others reveal more than they should. There's a strange thing that happens when a silent person enters a conversation. The room fills the quiet for them. Most people are uncomfortable with silence. They rush to fill it with words, explanations, or justifications. But that's exactly when the quiet one gains power. They don't need to interrogate or challenge. They simply listen. And in that stillness, others start talking more than they plan to. They confess, overshare, and reveal truths they usually guard tightly. The silence doesn't pressure them, it disarms them. It feels safe until they realize they've said too much. The silent person understands this psychology instinctively. They know that the less they say, the more others reveal. They watch how people scramble to fill the gaps, how they expose their insecurities without realizing it. Words become windows, and the silent one sees straight through them. They don't interrupt, they observe patterns. The way someone changes their story, the nervous laugh after a half-truth, the sudden need to justify small things. Every reaction tells a story louder than words ever could. This power comes from control, not of others, but of themselves. Silent people have mastered restraint. They don't rush to prove, defend, or dominate. They give others the stage, knowing that the performance will always reveal the truth. And the irony is that people often mistake their silence for shyness or weakness, not realizing it's strategy, because while everyone else exposes their intentions through constant talking, the quiet one sits calmly, collecting insight, connecting dots, and learning everything they need to know without lifting a finger. What makes their silence so unnerving is that it feels like a mirror. When someone speaks to a silent person, they hear their own voice echo back, their own fears, motives, and inconsistencies. That reflection makes people uneasy because silence doesn't flatter, it reveals. By the time the conversation ends, the silent person walks away with knowledge, while the other walks away wondering, why did I say all that? That's the quiet power few ever see coming. The ability to expose truth without asking a single question. In a world that talks too much, the one who listens in silence always ends up holding the upper hand. They think before every move. Nothing they do is random. Silent people don't move impulsively. Every action, every word, every decision is calculated, measured with precision and patience. They understand the value of timing. While others rush to react, they pause, observe, and wait for the right moment. Their silence isn't hesitation, it's strategy. Every second they spend quiet, they're running scenarios in their mind, analyzing outcomes, and preparing for every possible reaction. When they finally make a move, it's never by chance, it's by design. This kind of control makes them unpredictable. People underestimate them because they mistake calm for indecision, but what they don't see is the storm of awareness behind that stillness. Silent people rarely repeat mistakes because they study them. They learn from everything: how people respond, what triggers chaos, what patterns repeat. To them, the world is a chessboard, and every interaction is a move that must be played with intention. While others play checkers with emotion, they play chess with logic. Their ability to think before acting gives them a quiet dominance in any environment. They don't need to rush or compete for space. They let others exhaust themselves with noise. And when the time is right, they act with calm precision. That's why their decisions always seem to come out of nowhere. They've been preparing in silence long before anyone noticed. There's a certain mystery in this kind of discipline. People can't figure them out because they never reveal their process. You can't predict someone who plans privately. You can't manipulate someone who reacts slowly. Every step they take is intentional. Every word they speak carries purpose, and every silence they hold hides a plan already in motion. Their patience is their advantage. They know that emotion clouds judgment and that reacting fast is how people lose control. So they wait, watch, and strike when it matters most. To the untrained eye, their actions look effortless, but behind every calm movement lies hours of thought. In a world where people act before thinking, the silent ones think before acting. That's why they always seem to move smarter, stronger, and quieter than everyone else, because when every move is intentional, the silent mind becomes the most dangerous force in the room. Their calm under pressure unsettles those who rely on control. When tension rises, most people show it. Their voices get louder, their movements sharper, their words rushed. But the silent ones, they don't flinch. Their calm becomes almost eerie. In moments where everyone else loses composure, they remain still, unreadable, and grounded. That kind of control is unsettling because people who rely on dominance or manipulation realize in that instant, they have no power here. You can't intimidate someone who doesn't react. You can't control someone who stays centered when everyone else is spinning. Silent people have a unique relationship with chaos. They don't fight it, they absorb it. While others panic, they slow down. They analyze the situation with clarity, seeing through fear and emotion to the heart of the problem. This calm doesn't come from arrogance, it comes from awareness. They've faced storms before, both external and internal, and they've learned that panic only feeds the fire. So instead, they breathe, they think, they act when it matters. That's what separates them from everyone else. Their composure under pressure exposes the insecurity of those around them. The louder someone gets, the more their fear shows. But the quiet one, the one who says little, moves deliberately, and keeps their tone steady, becomes impossible to read. That mystery shakes people who depend on emotional reactions to assert control, because when they can't trigger you, they can't predict you. And when they can't predict you, they lose their grip completely. This unshakable calm becomes their silent weapon. It turns arguments into dead ends, conflict into confusion. People try to provoke them, to test them, but the lack of reaction feels like hitting a wall of steel. It's not that they don't feel pressure, it's that they've learned to master it. They understand that power belongs to the one who remains calm when everyone else loses focus. In every crisis, the silent one stands out, not by shouting louder, but by staying stiller. Their calm commands respect. It exposes weakness in others and strength in themselves. Because when the world burns and they still move with quiet control, everyone realizes the truth. The most dangerous person in any room is the one who can't be shaken. They build power quietly, while others waste energy seeking attention. In a world obsessed with being seen, silent people do the opposite. They disappear into focus. While everyone else fights for validation, posting, proving, and performing, they're building quietly, patiently, without distraction. Their silence isn't emptiness, it's construction. Every hour spent alone is an investment in skill, knowledge, and strength. They understand something most never will. Attention fades, but real power compounds in silence. While others chase applause, they chase improvement. They don't talk about their plans, they execute them. They don't announce their progress, they let it speak for itself when it's time. To the outside world, it seems like they came out of nowhere, suddenly successful, suddenly sharp, suddenly unstoppable. But in truth, they were working all along, behind closed doors, away from noise, stacking quiet victories no one saw coming. Their power grows slowly but deeply. They study when others scroll. They think when others argue. They plan when others perform. This consistent silence becomes their edge. They're not distracted by comparison or competition because their focus is internal. They're not building to impress. They're building to last. And that's what makes them so effective. Their energy isn't scattered across opinions and attention. It's fully concentrated on mastery. When people finally notice them, it's already too late. The foundation is built, the skill is sharpened, the discipline unshakable. The ones who sought attention now look up to the one who stayed invisible. Because true power never announces itself, it reveals itself when it's already undeniable. Their quiet journey often goes misunderstood. People assume they're unambitious or disconnected, not realizing that silence is their secret strategy. They don't waste energy proving they're capable, they're too busy becoming it. And when they finally step into the light, they don't need to demand respect, they command it, effortlessly, naturally, through results that speak louder than noise ever could. While others burn out chasing recognition, the silent ones rise, steady, calm, and untouchable. Because the truth is, the most dangerous power isn't built in public, it's built in silence. One focused step at a time, until the world can no longer ignore what can no longer be hidden. Their ability to read emotion gives them a psychological advantage. Silent people don't just listen to words, they listen to energy. Every tone, every pause, every micro-expression tells them something most people miss. While others focus on what's being said, the silent ones tune into how it's being said. They notice when someone's confidence cracks mid-sentence, when anger hides behind politeness, or when fear disguises itself as humor. They read emotional frequencies like a second language, and that's what gives them their quiet edge. This ability isn't learned from books, it's developed from observation. Silent people spend more time watching than speaking, and over time that awareness sharpens into intuition. They can walk into a room and instantly sense who's uncomfortable, who's dominant, and who's pretending. It's not magic, it's emotional intelligence in its purest form. They see patterns in behavior, spot tension before it explodes, and understand people's motives before they're ever spoken aloud. Because of this, they always stay one step ahead. You can't manipulate someone who already feels your intention before you finish your sentence. You can't lie convincingly to someone who sees the truth flicker in your eyes. That's why silent people are so psychologically powerful. They can disarm, redirect, or outthink anyone simply by staying emotionally aware. And the best part, they never reveal how much they know. They'll let you talk, expose your motives, and think you're in control, all while they quietly guide the entire interaction. Their emotional intelligence also protects them. They don't waste energy on fake connections because they can sense authenticity immediately. They're drawn to calm, grounded people, not loud performers or emotional manipulators. Their sensitivity acts as an internal compass, leading them toward peace and away from chaos. What makes this truly dangerous is their restraint. They could use their insight to manipulate, but they don't. They use it to navigate smoothly, silently, effectively. They never need to shout or argue because they already understand what drives everyone else. In a world where people react without thinking, the silent one's emotional awareness becomes their greatest advantage. They don't play the game, they read it, master it, and move through it quietly, leaving everyone wondering how they always seem to know what's really going on. They never show their full hand. Mystery becomes their armor. Silent people understand a truth most overlook. Power is in what you don't reveal. They never put all their thoughts, plans, or emotions on the table. Instead, they keep most of who they are hidden beneath a calm, unreadable surface. You never quite know what they're thinking, and that uncertainty keeps everyone guessing. Their mystery isn't an act, it's protection. The less others know about them, the harder they are to manipulate, predict, or control. In every interaction, they reveal just enough, a glimpse, a fragment, never the full picture. They've learned that people often use information as leverage, so they guard theirs carefully. They watch others talk endlessly about their next move, their emotions, their goals, all while the silent one listens, smiles, and stores it all away. They don't compete for attention, they collect insight. And that makes them dangerous in the quietest way possible. What others mistake for distance is actually discipline. The silent person understands that mystery creates respect. The less accessible they are, the more people want to understand them. The less they explain themselves, the more power their presence holds. In a world where everyone overshares, they become magnetic, not because they're trying to be, but because rarity always attracts attention. Their restraint builds an aura that feels both intriguing and intimidating. This mystery becomes a shield. People can't attack what they can't define. They can't predict someone who moves in silence. By keeping their emotions private, the silent one controls the energy of every interaction. Even when they're hurt or angry, no one ever knows for sure. That ambiguity protects their peace and confuses those who try to provoke them. Their silence doesn't mean they're hiding weakness. It means they're safeguarding strength. They understand that true power doesn't shout, it whispers, it observes, it lets curiosity do the work, and the more people try to read them, the less they discover. In a noisy world where everyone exposes too much, the silent person's mystery becomes their armor. You can't play a game with someone who never reveals their cards. And that's why in any room, the one who says the least often holds the most power. They speak or act only when it truly matters, and it changes everything. Silent people understand the weight of timing. They don't rush to prove a point or compete for attention. They wait, they watch, and when they finally decide to speak or move, the entire energy of the room shifts. Their voice carries a gravity that cuts through noise. It's not volume that commands attention, it's precision. Every word they choose lands with impact because people know they don't waste them. When the quiet one finally talks, everyone listens, not out of obligation, but curiosity. They've built that power through restraint. While others scatter their energy across constant chatter, the silent one stores theirs, refining thoughts until they're razor sharp. So when they finally act, when they take a stand, make a decision, or deliver a truth, it hits harder than anything loud ever could. It's the calm before the storm, the pause before revelation. Their silence builds tension, and their words release it with purpose. In arguments, their stillness makes others over-explain. In chaos, their calm becomes direction. People subconsciously look toward them for stability, for clarity. It's not something they ask for, it happens naturally, because control always gravitates toward composure. Their action, no matter how small, carries authority. One sentence from them can end a debate. One choice can shift the balance of power. This effect isn't manipulation, it's mastery. They know that timing is power, and silence creates timing. While others rush, they calculate. While others react, they prepare. So when their moment comes, they don't miss. Their actions always feel decisive because they are. Every move is the result of deep observation, not impulse. And that's why they're the most dangerous ones in any room. They don't speak often, but when they do, it changes perspectives. They don't act frequently, but when they move, it changes outcomes. Their presence commands attention not through noise, but through precision. Because the truth is simple. The most powerful voice isn't the one that talks the most, but the one that speaks at the exact right moment. And when the silent person finally does, everyone feels the shift and nothing goes back to the way it was. Silent people don't need to shout to be powerful. Their presence is power. They see, think, and move differently. Their calm disarms chaos. Their patience builds strength. And their words, few but precise, can change everything. They don't chase attention, they attract it through control. And that's what makes them truly dangerous. Not their noise, but their depth. In a world that glorifies loudness, the quiet mind remains undefeated because silence isn't weakness, it's awareness. It's the space where understanding, strategy, and real strength are born. If you're one of those people who feels more powerful in silence, who observes, thinks, and moves with purpose, you already understand this energy. Before you go, subscribe to Brainy Quiet Mind and join a community of deep thinkers who see through noise and lead through calm. And if this message resonates with you, tap the word silent power in the comments. So I know you're one of the rare few who understand that silence speaks louder than words.